Hi, friends and family. Welcome to Conversations with FBenson. Once again, my name is Fikayo Benson, and today we have a very wonderful guest with us. She is a Christian creative, a writer, and an actor. Please welcome with me, Peace Oni. Waiting period, the concept of waiting period. When you hear the waiting period, what comes to your mind?
Okay, so for someone like me, because I'm a very active, wait scares me. I hate to wait. I hate to not be doing anything. But I'm in a very interesting season of my life, which is the season where God is literally teaching me to be still.
Peace, be still.
I'm telling you, that's the theme of my life right now. Like literally, peace, be still.
And your name is Peace.
Has been crazy. I've almost gone mad. I'm not going to lie to you because it's not my nature to be still. But when I hear the waiting period, because I'm in it, I feel like I can speak to it, that the truth is, especially when God is going to do like great things with you, you have to wait. You have to learn, because it is in waiting that you show that you trust Him.
True.
Humans were very big on control. We're very big on being in charge. This is what I did. This is what I can do. But when you wait and you're not doing anything, that's a high level of trust. Because it's like, I know what I can do, but you're telling me not to do anything. I know how I can manipulate things. Because, I mean, we have our brain, you have word systems, you have opinions, you have men giving you advice and all of that. There's so many things that you can do to manipulate things. But when you choose to wait, it is you saying, God, I trust you enough to know that you already have my life figured out from beginning to the end. You know where I'm going to end. So I'm going to wait and let you do the leading. So in the way. So it's not just let you do the leading. In the way that you want it to be done. Because God, a lot of times we say that God is leading me, but you know deep down that you are the one that is leading yourself. All
right, so let's pick it up from that perspective. How did you know that this is the time to wait? You know, you've been moving from one thing to the other. Is it that you met a roadblock, or you're trying to do some stuff and it's not working? Or how did you get to know that, okay, this is when I should wait on God?
That's powerful, because as you're saying it, I was just thinking about it. That how did I know? I think it was the frustration. So I'd done 10 years, 2013 to 2023. 10 years of doing things my way. 10 years of going the obvious route of, okay, I entered Nollywood professionally because I'd always been a creative. I'd done a lot of creative stuff in church and all. But it just looked like Nollywood was the next
thing to do.
Yeah. So, but I also knew that I didn't want to be an actor. I didn't want to be in front of the camera. I wanted, to be behind the scenes. So the next thing was to be a writer. So I wanted to be a writer, but I knew I was going to be big. I always knew that there was a big thing about me. In what capacity, I didn't know, but I just knew that I was always going to be. So I came in as a writer. I started to do all of that, started to find my way, ask questions, do this. But every time, one thing I noticed was every time I would get an opportunity to act, and it will go viral. It will become something huge. So I'd noticed that even when I was in church, every time I was on stage or I was in front of the camera, it became something out of my hand. So I started to recognize that there was a pattern there. But I didn't pay attention because, again, I wanted to do things my own way. Yeah, there was a certain way I wanted things to be done, and I was doing it. And I did that for 10 years. I can assure you, there were good times, but there were a lot of bad times, a lot of down times. And it was by 2023, I knew
that, man,
peace.
Let me just chill. So how was it for you? How was it? How did you come to that conclusion that, okay, let me just relax? Like, was it really easy, or how? Like,
it was by force. And I feel like a lot of people who are used by God have that testimony. That whole, you get to the bottom.
Peace.
There's no way out anymore. You're at the bottom. And that was it for me. My 5-year relationship ended.
5 years relationship.
Yes,
wow, we're still gonna talk about that one. But let's just keep talking.
My relationship ended. I was neck deep in debt. I had borrowed money. It was a lot of money. Like it had I did not know where I was gonna get money. I was trying to get a job. I did not get, I was getting rejection mails every week. It felt like I did not exist. And I know my capacity. I know what it is I can do.
I can do this thing.
It's not that bad now. We are now, but It was really bad. It was like end of the road. I was down. And you know when you're down and there's no other way up, it was just like, fine, I surrender.
Never back. Come and do this thing.
Oh yeah.
So walk me through. How did you surrender to God? Did you have to go and meet a pastor? Did you get a mentor? Was it like a community? Like how did you find your way back?
So for me and with the people I've spoken with, I feel like there's a template. So you get to the bottom, you try other things, it doesn't work, then you go to God and you say, I surrender. I found that one of the things he first does is he pulls you to himself. So the way I say it, I say God wooed me. It's not as if I didn't know God before. I've always been a Christian, I'd always done, but he first revealed himself to me as lover, relentless lover. And then he sent people to me.
Sent people to you.
Yes.
So community helps.
Community, yes.
Okay.
It was very people that came to me. Amarachi, I talk about her a lot. You would think that I've known her for 10 years. Amarachi came into my life in 2022, December. Right? And
I think you posted out.
Yes, and I say that a lot, right? Then there was my mom, who has, walked through the entire journey for me. And thankfully, she was also growing spiritually because, again, in those seasons, you need people that can recognize what season you're in. And it's not everyone that understands these things. You can explain from now till tomorrow. If they don't get it, they don't get it. But if they get it, they get it. And God has a way that he sends those kind of people into your life.
So do you pray those people into your life
yes,
God
I feel like it comes with the package. The moment you surrender, it's like, okay, the Holy Spirit takes over.
Wow. And then it just keeps
everything
people.
Just keeps coming into place. People come into your life, you start to meet people, you have conversations, you enter. One of the things the Holy Spirit did for me, like 2022, he was leading me to programs. He would tell me, attend this event, attend this program. I would go there and then I'll be sitting by someone and then the pastor would say hello to your neighbor or something, and then say hello, you connect, and before you know, you have conversation like, oh my God, and there's lots of oh my God moments. I started to have conversations. I started to see that there were a lot of us, I started calling them the highlighted ones because I didn't know what else to call them. It was just happening. It was mind-blowing. Community is a big part of this.
All right, so let's talk about this. You mentioned something about your relationship, because for the most part, when people think about waiting period for young people like me, you or people listening to us, it's mostly a relationship. It's okay if you don't want to be married. It's very okay, which is perfectly fine. But for someone desiring a good home or a good spouse, or being in just a relationship, and you coming from 5 years, what happened and how did you take it? Was the breakup really necessary to get you down to where you're supposed to be, or just talk about the circumstances around it?
So for me, before the relationship started in 2018. Before then, I wasn't interested in being in a relationship.
Okay.
I was young, I was ambitious. I told you, I don't sit still. I knew what I wanted to do and I was going for it. But I also had a major fear of commitment. I was very sure for some reason, and I don't know. Anyway, let me not say I don't know where that came from. I know where it came from, I was very sure that whoever it is I would be with would cheat on me.
Was it because you've had experiences of people who are...
So I had not. It's just I had images in my head, pictures in my head. You know how you would see one celebrity that you really love their relationship and then
something just happened.
And then you hold on to that and you're like, oh, all men has come, One out of like 200,000, relationships and all of that. And because my parents are very happy together, I don't know what my problem was. And I had a lot of images of good marriages, but for some reason in my head,
the bad one would just keep
it just stood out for me, and I'm like, there's no man that is going to. And I'm very big on cheating. There are a lot of people that they don't mind,
like a deal breaker for you.
But me, I'm very big because I know how committed I can be when I'm in. So for me, I'm like, I'm not going to be with anybody because I don't think anybody can be as committed as I am in a relationship. So that was a mindset I had, and I carried it for a long time. I remember 2018, June. It's so weird. June is a very important month. Most of the things that happened in my life happened in June, right? June, I was sitting and I was alone. I was going through Instagram and I saw Tomike's post. And I'm mentioning it because it was very pivotal at that time. I think she had shared a post about her engagement, and she now did another post talking about how people tapped into her testimonies at that time and they came to share. So I was just seeing that post where she now shared it again, that if you want to get married, tap into this again. And of course, now it was like, oh God. Oh God,
I want to get married, though. Send someone, okay.
I will not forget. It was clear. I heard God, and God said, "But you don't want to be married." I know the conversations of your heart. You don't want to be married.
Like right then.
I was sitting on. I will never forget. It felt like someone was sitting beside me and talking to me. It was like, "You don't want to be married," and I'm like, "But I do." I mean, I think they was like, "No." And I will not bring my son to you for you to hurt him. That's what he said to me. And I realized that actually, I've been a bad girl. I've hurt every single person. Like, the moment you come to me and you seem like you want to be serious, I will finish you. Yeah.
I don't want to go deeper into the I finish you, but for the purpose, like for the
it was from a place of
finish
fear.
you. How do you mean, like finish you?
I would hurt you. I would start
like not pick up the calls or ghosts.
No, we will start and then I will ghost you.
Ghosts.
Or I will end things the moment I see any
form of serious.
Yes, any slight thing that shows you.
Does that take a piece out of you too, or you feel it doesn't really take
anything? I was doing just fine.
Wow.
and that's because again it was from a place of defense. Okay. I felt like I was protecting myself, defending myself. I didn't know it was from hurt. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because it will not make you understand. Meanwhile, when that conversation happened with God, I was already in a relationship. This 5 years relationship, I was in it. Like
2 years gone, 3 years gone?
No, we had just started May.
So it would have been easy for you to just break up, or you just say, okay, let's still go in.
And I decided to stay because of the conversation. I told God, I said, whatever you need to do to me or with me to make me worthy of your son, do it. But the mistake I made, I should have ended that relationship.
And be prepared yourself.
And wait. And let God work. But I was in that relationship and I just assumed that if you're going to work on me, Kuku work on me.
Work on both of us.
Work on both of us and let's just easy. It makes it easy. That's why I said a lot of times we say we are waiting on God and we are following God, but you're just doing your own thing.
You would know.
You would know. And you're just doing your own thing and giving it to God. Oh yeah, bless it, make I quickly move on. Meanwhile, what I should have, in retrospect, I should have ended, because even the way that relationship ended, started, is not a way for anybody to get into a relationship. Right? So, but I stayed there and I was like, and we showed each other
Pepe. So was it you that broke up with him, or he broke up with you? You broke up and then you now told God that God.
I'm like, you know what?
So let's talk about the breakup part, because some people feel like we have to like closure. Like there has to be some form of closure, and then people fall into the trap of, okay, I'm getting married next week, let me go and close with my ex, and then something happens. So do you believe in closure, or do you believe that, okay, when we break up, if there's no reason, let's just move ahead? Or
I don't. I used to believe in closure.
Your own point of view, it doesn't have to be right or wrong.
That's why I said I used to believe in closure. I used to believe in, I want to know, because I'm in control. I'm very big on control. Okay. I need to be able to have information to work with. So for me, it's like, I want to know
why we broke up.
Why did we break up? What does this mean? Where do we go from here? But I've learned, because you're dealing with humans, and the heart is very involved. And the truth is, the heart will do what the heart wants to do. No matter what your head thinks, your heart will always lead. There's no need for closure. If it's not working now, you can see that it's not working. You can tell that it's not leading anywhere. And I'm also speaking to men, because I find that a lot of times men don't end relationships.
True. We just want to like cry. Let's just manage it.
And then
all that.
Is behaving until the lady
breaks up. Like I don't want it. I don't want it to be like I was not that broke.
Bad guy. Don't do that.
So we really provide that someone could just walk up to the lady that I'm no longer interested. It makes you a bad person.
It doesn't.
Really?
I feel like that's yes. Because at the end of the day, you're doing something good for yourself and for the person. I don't know where we got the mentality that, let me just leave it.
Let me stop picking up our calls.
It's a very wicked thing to do.
Wow.
That is evil. It's demonic. Don't do that. The moment you realize that this is not going anywhere,
just call the girl and break up with the girl.
Yes.
So don't you think that would break the girl more than...
She will heal.
She will heal.
As opposed to you dragging it out for long, and eventually it will still not end well. End it quickly.
So message for our guys, please. If you want to break up, you are not feeling it again, just break up. Call her, send a text, or which one do you prefer, text or call?
Send text, send call, end
so Peace Oni is saying, if you are not feeling the relationship again, just break up with the girl and not drag it and make the girl break up with you, because it does more damage to the lady than you. All right, so let's just move on. So you broke up with him, and you moved on, or did you moved on to God?
So when that relationship ended, because the first time we had like a major issue, it took like 2 years for me to heal.
Wow, 2 years.
Yes, it took 2 years. So I remember when this was going to end in 2023, I remember one of my prayers was, God, I don't have 2 years.
2 years. Wow.
I do not have 2 years.
Because I know there are some professionals that what they do is, for ministries like Pastor Kingsley relationship, there are some people that their own ministry is healing, break up, healing. And so how did you handle the whole breakup? Did you have a pastor?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, okay. It was an actual prayer point. I said, God, I don't have 2 years to heal, so you need to do a quick work on me. How you are going to do it, I don't know. It took a month. The moment that relationship ended, God came for me. It was too obvious. God stepped in. I started to hear him clearly. He would send scriptures. I would go on Instagram, there would be messages. Strangers were sending me messages from God, like love notes. I'm not even lying to you, like love notes. God was back to back. I'm like, Emma, me now. But it was good to see. So, and during that period, my heart healed. That's the only way. I got over him completely in a way that, as I said, the last one was 2 years. But this one completely, he was asking me, I think last month, he still sent me a message and like, how did you do it?
So there are so many stories out there on Twitter, talking about you have to know your spouse. Like you can't just get married to someone you've not lived with. Do you think as Christians, your own point of view, it doesn't have to be right or wrong. Do you think it's necessary to cohabit because sometimes I think about it, I just sit down and think about it that, for example, the first time myself and my wife we lived together for 6 weeks straight was when we got married. The dating period, how do you, like the courtship, quote unquote, how do you manage that knowing your spouse very well?
Okay, so
I know it's a tricky question and really dicey.
I don't find it tricky. I'm learning, and I feel like it's the more you experience, the more you learn. That there's no template for these things. I do not think that there is a particular template. I feel like, and again, my opinion, this is because I'm talking to Christians, I'm talking to believers, I'm not talking to unbelievers. They did not send me to you people. Believers, you know God's will. You know God's will.
We'll talk about the God's will, but continue,
You know that, and you also know how strong the human flesh is. Don't deceive yourself. There's no need.
Don't go and be
sniffing. Need to be doing gays. Don't you ever say you to the jema. Even to my jema tifi romo duro thought that to fe. That's how we work. So for kingdom, it's different, and that's the reason why the waiting, season waiting on God to help you choose your spouse is very important, because then you will not need to do the personal work that you feel you need to do in cohabiting. Because that's what that thing is. Let me learn. Let me see where. But that's not even enough, because you can never know somebody.
100%. 100%. Let me share one example. So just last week, I was still telling my wife that we've been married for like 2 years and we still just. So for me, I like to explain. Like if I'm explaining something to you, I want you to get it. Like I want you to explain, but my wife wants to explain one time like this, and she doesn't want you to explain again. She just wants you to like, okay, what you hear me? Let's move on. So when she's trying to explain something to me, even the details that doesn't even concern the gist at all, I still want her to tell me again. So that thing caused a little disagreement. That was just literally last week. So after that time, the Holy Spirit reminded me that you both are different in this part. You should understand that. She's not interested in the details of the gist. She just wants you to just talk. And if you don't have to talk into details. But you, because you like talking into details, you want her to give you the details, and that will frustrate her. So you have to understand. So I now call that. So we never even knew these differences,
and obvious. And you've been together for 2 years.
Yes, like okay. So there will be different.
It never ends. It never. My parents have been married for 33 years and they still shock each other. My mom will come and say, and I'm like, why are we having this conversation 30 something years after?
So like it's not going to change.
It's not going to change. It's not going to end. And then we are even still evolving. Like the things that I like now, I'm sure that I don't like pap, but I can wake up next year now and be like, if you don't give me pap, I don't want to eat any other thing. These things happen. So cohabiting is not going to make you know the person.
100%.
It's not going to. So should you cohabit? Is it necessary? I don't think it is.
How is it for you now? You know, are you seeing someone? Are you not seeing someone? I'm sure, you know, as a superstar that you have, so many brothers, so many pastors will be coming. How is it, if you're not seeing someone, how is it, has it been for you to say no?
So I made a video where I said that anyone that shares one more prophecy about me getting married to me, that I'll bite the person. And I wasn't joking. Because when my relationship ended in May last year, as I said.
Oh, May last year, okay.
May last year. If you remember when I spoke earlier, I said before that relationship, I was in a space where I wasn't, you know, I was in a really bad space and all of that. So I know what I used to be as at that time. And so when my relationship ended last year, I was afraid of going back to that space. It was a very strong fear for me. I didn't want to go back to the space where, you know, I was no longer interested in, you know, being with anybody. I just wanted to do my work. I just wanted to. So I was afraid. And so because of that, my heart was still open for a relationship.
Just right after you broke up?
Yeah, right after I was open. And what that did to me was every man that looked like what I wanted.
You allowed them in? I
allowed them in. And I fell for it. It wasn't even just allowing them in. I fell. Head over heels, head on the ground, scatter body. That reminds me of something. I'm still going to answer the question. I'm still going to ask that question, but just continue. Fine. So, you know, and there were some of the relationships that were affected because they didn't see me in that light. And then there were others that they had eyes on someone else already. But I feel like what was happening with me was, as I mentioned, God stepped in and he had work that he wanted to do on me for greater works. So he was very specific about peace. Be still. Just chill. chill. And they do the work. Just chill. You see videos of Sarah Jakes, Robert, and her husband. Like, that's what I want. I want to hold my husband. I want my husband to lead me to stage, you know. I want to come back into his arms. You know, those were the images I had in my So I didn't want to start ministry without my husband. So I was telling God, I was like, see, let me tell you.
Let's do it sharp.
You're not going to give me my husband. I'm not doing ministry. So did I have a time like, yes. I told God, I was like, I'm not going into ministry if you don't give me my husband. And so I also on my own end became very active. I'm like, if they're helping you work, you self
do the work.
You know, do the work. So I would meet men. I would go, you know, I said I was going to programs and all of that. My eyes were always open. Whether my husband did, whether it was a lot of work. It was until April
of this year. That was literally 2 months ago.
2 months ago. So that, you know, that's why I said, when I tell you that I'm still in it, you understand. It was until April that I let go. And this was after a lot of people had said, Peace, if you don't sleep,
and let me do the work.
If you don't rest, your husband will not come.
So let me do it. So was it like you were pressured? Was it like an external pressure kind of thing, or your personal pressure that, man, I have to, it was a personal
I mean, there was also the external, because you know how these things are. Just like when you are in church and you are a certain age and people start to ask, sister, please, where's the man? Where's the man? Where's the man? So all of that had happened. I will turn 33 this year. 33. So it started when I turned 25.
Wow, that's 8 years, man.
Yeah, it's been a struggle and it continues till I turn 30. But when I turned 30, it became at this point, because you cannot kill me.
That 30, it's like people like, okay, once you cross 30,
like there's nothing again. So at this point, I'm like, see, I'm not interested in doing anything. Because again, I was in a relationship when all of these things, but we did not get married or anything. It was obvious we were not going to get married. Okay, so for a lady who's been 30, or for a man, I want you to talk from the lady's perspective, who is 30 and, you know, there's no spouse, there's no, you know, maybe talking stages, you know, K-leg, and what would you know, tell your younger 30, or what would you tell someone who is about to cross 30, like 29, 28, 30, or even 30 or 31? You know, what would you say in just like a minute or 30 seconds to the person? My sister, is not that deep. I know it looks like it is, but it really isn't. That you are alone now does not mean that you are alone. You are not alone. And I know that you look at other people's relationships and you think, oh, I mean, as I said, I was looking at, say I had all of these images before me, but I also know that I don't want to get it wrong. And it is better to be alone than to be with the wrong person. It is much better. Ask those that are with wrong people, they will tell you. I know how many people came to me, they will come to me in private and say that they are married. And they'll say things like, please just enjoy
this single
time. Enjoy it, because when you get married, I know it looks beautiful and all of that, but there's also the side that nobody talks about. There's a side that nobody talks and nobody will talk. And when you are in it, you are in it. It is your responsibility to make it work till the end, right? So, and again, I'm talking to believers. My sister, my brother, relax. When it will happen, it will happen. It will be easy. It will be easy, because when God does these things, when God, except it's not him, when he does it, I've heard too many testimonies. When he does it, it is easy and it is perfect in his time.
I saw one of your skits one time that you were talking about you almost fell for a man and then maybe you used your heart and something like that. Was that a reflection of what was happening in your life at that time, or was just joke? I'm like, she Peace, or she's just trying to tell us, or so. And most of your skits, especially stuff that has to do with personal, some people for the most part are not what is happening in their own life. Are they a reflection of what is happening in your life?
So I was saying earlier that I'm finding out that one of the things that my life is about is living, being a living example. And I've always been a sharing person. My friends know I don't know how to suffer in silence. Everybody that's around me knows what is going on with me part time. Sometimes it makes them uncomfortable because they're just like, there's some things you shouldn't share. But the way I'm the most authentic. I don't know how to
just keep quiet.
I don't know how to hide anything, except I'm not feeling it. If I'm feeling it, we know. So that has always been my nature. And I feel like I brought that into content creation because everything that I give in that character is what is inside.
You can't give what you don't have.
Exactly. You can't give what you don't have. All of those type contents actually just started, I think, December last year. And I'm usually led to do it. So I'm going through this and then it just occurs to me that share it. And then I share it and people are
responding. Like, oh my God, I sat down for that. I'm like, okay, let me listen. I listened to it again. I listened to it again, like, okay, is she trying to tell us that she was falling in love with someone? And then you ended it with use your mind, don't use your mind. I'm like, I was confused at some. I'm like, let me listen to it again. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. Everything I say in those videos, like, how did they be one man be one? Like, it just from beginning to the end, it just plays in my head and then I record. But as I said, I think it's also from a place of, there's such a power in testimonies. You said something about how you also create your own content. Whatever it is that you experience and you can share is it's the ability for people to be able to relate to you. Yeah, that's what humanity is about. Making people be able to feel. If people can feel, it is because it is true. True. And it is only what is true that people can feel about. And if they can feel, that's the only thing that will reach them, that will make impact to them. So at the end of the day, those that are willing to actually share are those that are making impact. So let's stay on that point for a while. As a Christian creative, there's this pressure to want to make money, to want to have a lot of followers, especially when you have friends that have like 500,000, 1 million, or you just have someone that just came from nowhere that is not doing, quote and unquote Christian, and then be from like 10,000 to like 1 million. So do you feel some kind of pressure, to get that numbers? And then I want you to talk to the audience too, for someone who is, having that, oh God, when am I going to blow? When am I going to reach 50K, 100K, 200K, 500K? So when you started, did you feel some kind of pressure? Was it self-inflicted pressure from the outside? And then for someone going through that moment, what advice would you have for that kind of person? Hi, my name is Fikayo Benson, and I want to welcome you to FikayoBenson.com. This website is designed with you in mind to uplift, empower, and guide you on this unique journey. Join me at FikayoBenson.com.